Okay, and now we switch over to English because we're going to talk to Christian Zahler, who's the CEO of Clean Industry Solutions. So I'm saying welcome to you, Christian, and please tell us where you are at this very moment.
Thank you, Amanda, for the warm welcome. Good evening, everybody. I'm currently in Freiburg, Germany, in the beautiful southwest of Germany, which is hopefully a bit warmer than in Sweden. So let's go. Clean Industry Solutions, who we are, what we do, why we do it, and what we want to do in the future. At Clean Industry Solutions, everything is about clean energy, clean water, and all this clean water and clean energy are the fundamentals of life. Without that, there wouldn't be any human beings. And to our understanding, they're also the fundamentals of a clean industry. This is what we're aiming at. So we want to reach a clean industry. We want to come to a circular economy to overcome climate change. What is Clean Industry Solutions? Actually, it's an investment company that invests in companies which provide solutions for a sustainable industry and a circular economy. Currently, the company owns two subsidiaries. Both are located in Germany. One is Industrial Solar, and the other one is Solarspring. Industrial Solar is about solar energy, clean energy, and Solarspring is about water. To be more precise, Industrial Solar is offering services from system engineering to full implementation of renewable energy systems, which are based on a rather broad technology portfolio. And we are integrating these systems in the conventional systems of our industrial customers. Solarspring is similar. They're also offering services from system engineering to full implementation of water treatment system, which are based on membrane distillation and ultrafiltration. So if you take those two companies together, add the portfolios up, you come to this portfolio, what you see here. So our services range from consultancy services for carbon emission reduction, energy optimization. We offer engineering services from conceptual designs till detailed planning for process heat systems, but also cooling and heating and also steam generation systems. So in the background of me, you see a process heat system, which is directly generating steam in Jordan. But we also do PV, we install PV modules. We also install chillers and heat pumps and storages, of course, because we have a holistic approach and we want to meet the demand of our customers. And our customers don't only need heat or electricity, they typically have a demand for electricity, for heat, but also for cold. And this is what we want to supply. And water, of course. So Joachim Bieström, who is, by the way, one of the largest shareholders of our company, has already explained the problem of industry. So industry needs a lot of heat. Heat is half. So basically, the world is burning half, or 50% of our emissions are caused by burning of fossil fuels just to generate heat. And industry is responsible for about 30% of all our emissions, which is equivalent to the volume of emissions generated by our transport sector. And what's really nice for us, for our holistic approach, is that about 80% of all industries that use heat in their production line also use water. And the core technology of Solarspring, namely membrane distillation, is heat-driven. So they also need a little bit of electricity for circulation pumps, but the main energy source for membrane distillation is heat in a temperature range from about 60 to 90 degrees C. So here we have very strong synergies between the two companies. Talking more about the background, the industrial energy demand, I have shown this slide earlier, but it's so important and so essential that I show it again and again. We have a prediction of industrial growth over the next decades, which is in the range of 300–400%. But this growth of industry is not happening in Europe. It's not happening in Germany or Sweden. It's happening in the so-called emerging markets. And if you look at those emerging markets, where they are, like if you see here, like India, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, these are mostly countries with plenty of sunshine. And there will be the industrial growth. And there is then the demand for clean energy, namely process heat, but also electricity. And this is opening the door for solar technologies. On the other side, the water demand. Few people know about the industrial water demand. You see here in this graph, the demand of global freshwater or the usage of global freshwater. And you see the growth is basically parallel to the growth of our carbon emissions. So we need more and more water. I think the main consumer of fresh water is agriculture, but industry alone is responsible for about 20% of the global freshwater use. And we want to address this with our technologies. Here is a brief, a very simple overview of our portfolio. So you can see we offer photovoltaic systems. With them come electric storages, heat pumps. Of course, we also have solar thermal technologies. We started with the Fresnel collector, a linear concentrating system, which can provide temperatures up to 400 degrees C and is designed for the single-digit and lower double-digit megawatt range. With the Fresnel collector or with other solar thermal technologies like the parabolic trough from Absolicon or non-concentrating solar thermal collectors, there is typically a need for a heat storage. So we offer also heat storages. And with chillers like absorption chillers or compression chillers, there is also need for cold storages. And last but not least, we also integrate electric resistance heating, which is quite common in Scandinavia, which is not so common in other parts of the world yet. But private homes, for example, they have more and more resistance heating. They have PV systems installed, and the excess energy, which cannot be fed to the grid, is then converted to heat with a very simple resistance heating element in the hot water storage. Not to forget the water systems by Solarspring, as mentioned before. Their core technology is membrane distillation, which is heat-driven. This is a technology which is good to recover valuable materials from wastewater streams. And the other technology they're offering is ultrafiltration, which is good for potable water, for the production of potable water. We have recently added a new technology to our portfolio. This is just an example. These are so-called solar fences. They are basically working with bifacial PV modules. These are PV modules that basically convert solar radiation to electricity as known from regular PV modules, but they work from both directions, from the front side and the back side. And so it makes sense to install them vertically. And this is opening new markets because typically when we talk to industrial customers, they're running out of area. There is typically a very strong discrepancy between the energy demand of a company and the area available for solar technology. So the roofs are already covered with PV. You can put some solar thermal collectors on the walls of the building if you are in northern latitudes, or you find some other places. But if you can integrate a solar fence, you can add more PV capacity to a factory which is already covered with solar technology. And we already have the first engineering contract for such a system. Talking about what we do, here is a map with references. So you see the different references. There are references for engineering and for projects. So yellow are the references of industrial solar, blue the ones of Solarspring with water, and the one with stripes there, both companies have references. So you see that we haven't been lazy in the last years. Solarspring has deployed many ultrafiltration systems in Latin America, also in Africa and India. Industrial Solar has installed process heat systems in many, many countries. And the last one and the most important one for us is Jordan. Jordan is a very unique market for us. It's a country with very high solar irradiation. It's the only country in the Middle East without fossil fuel resources. They have to import all the fossil fuels. And they have quite some industry because they are basically the extended workbench of the Arabic Peninsula. So what's the current status quo today? It's very important that there are incentives in place. So now you still get the carrot. If there is an industrial customer, they are basically supported typically by governments because they get a part of the investments back via subsidies and incentives. There is the stick already to be seen. So the obligations are on the way, like in Germany, new buildings now have to have PV. So this is changing to a serious pull market. This is also the reason why we adapted to the COVID-19 strategy, or how we adapted to the COVID-19. We are offering PV installations in Germany. We are doing the first little projects, generating references in Germany and paving the way to this opening market now, or to this growing market due to the new regulation. So there's an increasing interest from customer side, from industry. We are doing a lot of energy concept studies, and there's more to come. Besides that, investor relations and marketing, we have employed a new marketing expert who is already 20 years, who has 20 years experience in online marketing. And he's not only working for Industrial Solar, he's also working for the holding, for Clean Industry Solutions, and also for Solarspring. And this is already making a change. So we feel the effect of this experience that he's bringing in the company and the actions that we are currently taking. Besides that, we are also updating and optimizing all our websites. We are adding more languages to address customers in the target markets. And also the shareholder communication will not only be in English like it used to be in the last years. Now we already have added Swedish, and we're going to add German. And why is that? We have changed from Spotlight to Nasdaq First North last summer in July. And the background of this change, of this list change, was clearly the need that our shares should be international tradable, because both subsidiaries of Clean Industry Solutions are located in Germany. There are plenty of stakeholders that know us. We have a network, and they should have access to our share. And of course, we are trying to build an interest in our share in the German market. And at the end of the year, we made a directed share issue, and we issued about 3 million shares to Asindia, and the proceeds of these shares, which are 10 million kroner, they will support the strategic development of the company. And it's interesting that Asindia is not only now the largest shareholder in the company, but they also, oops, I'm going in the wrong direction. Sorry for that. Asindia has subsidiaries, namely Tectus Development and Almubartaba, and Almubartaba is located in Jordan. And so here we go again. So we have a very good network in Jordan, and Almubartaba is active in the field of real estate development, property development. So they are planning to build larger number of buildings or bigger buildings that need electricity, heat, and cold. And this demand should be covered with renewable technologies. And also the water is a big issue in Jordan. There is a scarcity of water. And we see here a very interesting business model, which is basically complementary to the one that we already have. As the industry is typically a very difficult customer, they are rather lagging behind. This was also mentioned and communicated after the last COP conference, that industry is a kind of a difficult child in this situation with climate change and the mitigation of climate change. And this is a perfect situation now for us, as we're complementing our existing business model with real estate and property development. Here you see this installation that we made on Japan Tobacco International in Amman, Jordan. It's a directly steam generating system, generating pressures up to 25 bar, feeding in the company grid. And what's also interesting to know is that we were the turnkey provider, and we not only installed the collector field and the balance of plant, like the steam drum that you see on the left-hand side, but we also installed an absorption chiller, which is driven by steam. So basically it is possible to use the peak power in the noon hours to generate cold by converting heat to cold with this absorption chiller. What's going on at Solarspring? We have communicated earlier last year that they have a new production technology, which is bringing down their cost by 80%. They are working on this new technology, producing the first modules, membrane distillation modules with this new production technology. And like last week or the week before, they shipped a water treatment system for Africa with a financial support by Atmosphere. Atmosphere is a non-profit organization in Germany, which is basically helping people to set off their carbon emissions. So if you book a flight, you can basically pay to set off your carbon emissions on this flight. And they are currently receiving a lot of payments, and they help the local contractors and investors, like in this case in Burkina Faso, eau propre, to finance these systems. And the local contractors and investors, they are basically the customers of Solarspring, and they're ordering the systems and installing them. So this is a photo of drilling works in Burkina Faso. And the other one, this one here, shows such a water kiosk. Water kiosk has a micro payment system, so the people are paying a little bit for the potable water, basically to avoid waste of the potable water. And this is a very good system to cope with this water scarcity in these parts of the world, and also to offset carbon emissions, because typically they would use then diesel generators or diesel-driven pumps to pump up the water. So we're all working here to fight climate change. We're trying to do our best. Our company, Clean Industry Solutions, is listed on Nasdaq First North since 12th of July. Currently, both companies, which have together around 30 employees, Industrial Solar has around 20, Solarspring has around 10. Together, we have around 10 public funded R&D projects. And this is really a message. This is proving that we do a good job here and that our work is relevant. We have more and more orders. So turnover is increasing. Especially, we have currently a rather high number of energy concept studies for multinationals. These concept studies are a door opener. So this is a first little order. And we hope that we can convert some of these concept studies also to larger orders to build such systems, to implement such systems. It's a quickly growing market, definitely. And basically, we are just like the extension of the business model of Absolicon. Absolicon, a partner of us, is addressing more like the technology, the production of the collectors. We are addressing the implementation, the planning, and also the hybridization of the system. So companies need heat, companies need electricity, they need code. We can basically cover everything. We can design systems that meet their specific demand, and we can implement them together with local partners. And we have a highly motivated and highly skilled team in both companies. So be smart, don't be a fossil fool, and please follow us on all social media and support us. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. We're applauding you here in the room in case you can't hear it. Okay, so lots of opportunities there going on for you. If we look back at the past year, how do you feel about your 2021?
Yes, I mean, like many companies, we were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, of course. I mean, in the past 2 years, our systems were more like a nice to have. Most of the industrial customers were focusing on their core business. And it was difficult for us, absolutely. But we have adapted our business model. So before, as you could see from the world map, we were very international. So we were installing systems all over the world, in South Africa, in Abu Dhabi, wherever, yeah? So Jordan. And suddenly all our salespeople were stuck here, and also the engineers. So we still have a project open in Qatar, which we cannot finalize due to the COVID-19 restrictions. So every time we try to commission the system, there is a new problem related to COVID-19. Our people can't get a visa to go there. It's amazing, but I think we coped rather well with this challenge because we have diversified more. We are addressing also the German market now. We have technologies that can be applied also in Central Europe or even Northern Europe. And now as COVID-19 is like getting better, I don't want to say it's ending. I think in Sweden, you are a bit further than in Germany. We are still struggling more.
Okay, may the force be with you. Let's hope it ends soon.
So I think we have adapted very well to this challenge, and we're working our way out. And I think we have a bright future.
But also, I mean, there are other things happening. And of course, one effect of the pandemic is this global lack of components. How has it affected you?
Yes, definitely. It is difficult. It's affecting us also the increase of material prices. I mean, if you look at the prices of raw material like steel and so on, it is very challenging. I mean, you write an offer and the customer is sitting on the offer for a couple of months and then coming back and said, oh, I want to order it, and said, oh, sorry, the offer was only valid for 3 months and now you're coming back after 6 months and the price of steel has unfortunately gone up by so and so many percent, is making it more difficult, sure. But as mentioned before, I think now the time is here, so it's the right timing now. There is a strong demand. I never received so many phone calls as in the last weeks from multinationals. It's amazing. It's probably also due to our new marketing activities, but there are more and more companies that really want to be carbon neutral. And sometimes their expectations are so high that it's almost that you almost have to disappoint them. I tell them, you have been 100% fossil fueled over the last decades, and now you want to be 100% carbon neutral in one step. That's a bit too ambitious. So go step by step. But it's so the market, how to say, the signals are very, very positive, and it's picking up. Finally, after those 2 years, I'm very glad that we see these signals, these early adapters, and there is more to come.
Do you think it's the energy prices pushing them this way, or not just your marketing guy who seems to be doing a good job?
Yes, I mean, we have more and more orders and concept studies, energy concept studies in Germany, and this is definitely driven by this high energy prices, by the hassle with Russia and natural gas. And yes, it's kind of bad, but it also helps us.
Yep. Okay, so this, I have a question here. I think you touched it maybe, but the direct issue that you did, how will you use the resources and money?
Yes, it's for the strategic development. I think marketing is very important. I think we have neglected that a bit in the past, marketing and communication. We learned a lot over the last months that we have to increase here, and we have to build up our sales activities. I mean, I wouldn't want to invest in production lines. I mean, this is what we don't want. So we don't want capital sitting, and that's also one of the advantage of our Fresnel collector, that we don't have a production line. Basically, the components are shipped to the site and assembled on site. So this is positive, but we have these new activities with our new shareholder Asindia and its subsidiaries Almubartaba. We are basically now driven into district heating, district cooling, more heat pumps. So we are building up know-how, and we have to hire more people and spend time on this education of the team, so that we can cover this rather broad portfolio of technologies. But we are already on a very good status quo, and we are deepening our know-how more and more. But there is more to come, which I probably cannot disclose now. But
you can give us a teaser that there is more coming. Okay, so which would be like the top 3 exciting markets for the moment? Sounded like Jordan might be one of them.
Yeah, Jordan is very special for us because our colleague Martin Hagen is doing business development there since about 10 years. Basically, he knows everybody there, and now we have this partner in Jordan who has also a very good network, and having a legal entity who is your partner in Jordan is also opening new possibilities in terms of financing, subcontracting, and so on, which was very difficult and very tedious before being in Germany and then realizing a project in Jordan. So this is going to help us a lot. And there are more markets. Also, I think Europe is becoming more interesting again. Europe hasn't been the most attractive market for us because we were basically flooded with inexpensive gas, natural gas. This was a serious problem. And now this problem is tackled by this gas crisis, that the prices are going up and that the security of supply is no longer given. So we also receive more requests for contact from Southern Europe. And yeah, together, Jordan, Southern Europe, I think these are the most important markets. And Middle East, I mean, we're not going to stay in Jordan, but we're going to expand over the Middle East with our local partners there.
Mm. And if you look at the order book for the moment, are you happy with it?
Oh, it could be more. I mean, this is really, we are working our way up. The revenues over the last 2 years were, of course, below expectations, but this is understandable. But the signals are positive. We are now having a lot of small orders, which are keeping the team busy. But as I said, these are door openers. We are doing a lot of studies for multinationals. And I think we can convert some of those small orders then to larger orders that will follow in the next phase.
Mm-hmm. And I also read something interesting about your R&D, that you're connecting solar with artificial intelligence. How is this happening?
Yeah, that's also a way to, I mean, it's to cope with hybrid systems. I mean, if you're combining different technologies and you want to optimize the operation, if you have PV, solar, thermal, heat pump, and storages, and you have a customer with a varying demand, it is rather tricky to make this system work perfectly. And artificial intelligence helps you. So the system is learning day by day how to get better. And there are also like simple tricks like artificial intelligence. What we did is like a sensor network. If one sensor fails, then the artificial intelligence will basically calculate from the values of the other sensor what would be the value of the broken sensor. And this is already a great help. I mean, if we had problems in the past with the system, it was typically that a sensor failed, and this was annoying us extremely. And we were working on the hardening of those systems. So we want to avoid that a large system in the hundreds of kilowatt or megawatt range is shut down because one single sensor fails. But on the other hand, it doesn't make sense to make everything redundant. I mean, this is also too expensive. And this artificial intelligence is helping to keep the cost down and bring the downtime down. So this is a very good trick, and there are plenty of applications with artificial intelligence. So more to come.
More to come, promising. Also, I mean, we're sitting here in Sweden now, but you're telling us that you're going to have a bigger presence in Germany and also investors and so on. How will this be beneficial to the people in this room and watching you right now?
I mean, if we can generate a demand or interest in our share in Germany, this will drive up the stock price and also the market capitalization of the company, which is currently very low. So Clean Industry Solutions currently a bargain. Think about it. And I think we are better than that. And I think if we can motivate some German investors to invest in our company, to buy some shares, this is also helping our Swedish shareholders.
And this is the final question, so if you want to extend the perspective a little bit, where will you be in 5 years if you can decide?
Yes, I mean, of course, we should be much bigger. I mean, I would like to have a department for all those technologies, and that we are, how to say, established provider, established partner for many multinational companies, also national companies, to reduce their carbon emissions, helping them to reduce their carbon emissions and driving up their renewable energy fraction, and also cleaning their water, cleaning their wastewater. This is a big topic which was a bit neglected in today's presentation, but I will make up for it in the next presentation.
Okay, so we see lots of win-wins in the future. So we wish you good luck on this journey. Thank you so much for the report, Christian.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.